Okay, so for anybody who's been here before, you probably know, but got the chat open for anybody who's new. You can see, or I can see any questions you might have. If you type them in chat, I'll try to kind of answer them along the way. We can, start a conversation about any of the things I'm talking about today. For those who don't know me, my name's Austin Winegar, as was introduced. I've been with Usana for about 11 years, with a few various roles in the research and product development team, from helping analyze and build some of the formulas that we have. A lot of the time we're taking one of our formulas that we initially developed, and depending on individual country regulations, we have to slightly adapt that formula. So I was working on some of those adaptations when I first started at Usana. And now the last handful of years here, in addition to product development, a big part of my role is customer education, which is what brings me here today. And today we'll be talking a little bit about the microbiome, what it is, and what Usana has as far as products to help support your microbiome, as well as some of the dietary and lifestyle choices you can be making to help support your microbiome, and in turn, gut health as well. Since the microbiome is so concentrated in the gut, those two always kind of end up being interlinked in a single conversation. So the first big question, for those of you who might not know, is what is the microbiome? So the microbiome is basically a collection of all the bacteria living on us or inside of us. There can also be other microbiomes outside of the human body. For example, you could use the terminology microbiome referring to the bacteria living in soil or air, water, food. There's an interesting study I saw a little while ago. They were looking at microbiomes of subway systems. They found that different subway systems around the world, for example, Tokyo versus Los Angeles versus New York, Paris, each of them actually had their own unique microbiomes within the handrails and the seating areas of the subway system. So just as each of those are unique to these populations around the world and the people living there, each of the parts of our body have a unique microbiome. You might have also heard the term about microbiota. So to kind of define between microbiome and microbiota, often the microbiota is defined as the bacteria present, while the microbiome is the sum of the bacteria and their genes and the place they're living. Basically, the entire ecosystem is the microbiome, versus microbiota is just specifically the bacteria. And it's normal for these to be all over the place. So just the fact that they're living on you and all around your body or in our environment around us, our doorknobs, our kitchen, our sinks, it's natural that they're there. There's no way to completely get rid of them. You've probably heard of antimicrobial creams or different hand washes or soaps. The reality is they're temporarily going to wash away some of the bacteria or kill some of the bacteria. You should be using them to kill harmful bacteria that might be on your hands that can transfer to your food or your face. But there's no way to completely eliminate all of them. They're just always there, and they're part of a normal, healthy life that each of us experience. And in fact, they may play, and they do play, a large role in your individual health. We've all heard of harmful bacteria, but there are some bacteria that also offer benefits to you. In addition to bacteria, it also includes a collection of a number of other microorganisms. So you've got fungi, viruses, archaea, and protozoa that are also included in the microbiome. But predominantly, we'll be focusing our talk today on bacteria, since they're the one that most of the research is done on in recent years, and one of the ones that we can most impact through our lifestyle and our choices. I mentioned they can be found all over the body. Here's an example on the right of some of the different microbiomes that you can find around your body. So you see that there's different ones all over the body, whether you're looking at the mouth versus skin versus your gut bacteria, which is kind of what we'll focus on a lot going forward. And bacteria are single-cell primitive organisms with an outer membrane, but no individual cellular parts, no distinct nucleus, which makes them in general a little bit smaller than, for example, the cells that make up your body. And as a result, being smaller, the total number becomes really concentrated. There's about as many bacteria living on you and in you as there are total human cells that make up your body, about 1-to-1 ratio there. And so trillions and trillions of bacteria all around your body and within your body. So now you know what the microbiome is. Kind of a quick final definition. It's the bacteria that lives on you or in you. Let's go on and look at some of the history of the microbiome and find out how we learned all of this. So the first observations of microorganisms were in the 1600s with the first microscopes being developed. And you kind of see some jumps here, but most modern knowledge of microbiome and specifically some of the DNA within these microorganisms has really been within the last 30 years, and more specifically in the last decade is where a lot of the research has been on microbiome. As you so in part of the research and development group that I'm a part of, we're always following modern research on not only human nutrition that we're so tightly linked to, but also just overall human health, human wellness, what helps improve and support our health and wellness. And every few years, it kind of shifts from topic to topic. You find that genetics was a big one for a long time, and really microbiome has been the hot topic of the last decade. It's a very, very fast growing area of research. And you can't find any sort of human health journal or clinical research journal that doesn't have some sort of discussion of microbiome. Even when you're talking about food and diet, a lot of what we find in recent years is that the way that food offers benefits to us, the way that our diet is important to us, is because it actually impacts our microbiome, which in turn impacts us. These aren't necessarily always direct impacts from diet to human health, but it's often diet to microbiome, then to human health. So that's one of the good things that we've been learning so much about over the last decade. So like any life form, like our own bodies or any sort of animals or things that we come across in this world, bacteria are selfish. They don't live because they're out there to help you. They're not there specifically to harm you. They're just there to provide for themselves. Luckily, some of these bacteria have evolved, and their selfishness can be used to our individual advantage, the human advantage. And so we've formed these symbiotic relationships. And so some of these relationships we've found can help improve the digestive processes within our body, our immune function. They can help support healthy weight, nervous system function, just overall other gut bacteria or gut health. Some of these bacteria are also important and essential for micronutrient breakdown or synthesis within our body. So the foods that we're eating and the nutrients that we receive from them, some of them are actually broken down or manufactured by these bacteria. So there's an intermediate step there as well. So there's lots and lots of different things that they can do for us. When looking a little bit closer at microbiome and these bacteria, there's a few different definitions that are important to remember, and these each have a role within kind of how they support the bacteria or how they support us. So these three items we're going to be looking at are prebiotics, probiotics, and then postbiotics. That biotic term simply means life. And so the pre, pro, and post kind of are how these things are interacting with the life form of these bacteria. So prebiotics are compounds that are found in our food, our diet, that help support the growth and activity of beneficial microorganisms. More often than not, these are fibers that we're getting from our diet. So fibers from fruits and vegetables or whole grains. Here's a few examples of different types of non-digestible starches, that's what fiber is a non-digestible starch. So you've got inulin, pectin, gums, lignans, different phytonutrients. And really, some of the best sources of these are things that we're familiar with. So on vegetables, a lot of the time, the skins of vegetables and fruits are richer in some of these phytonutrients and fibers. We all know whole grains, because whole grain also contains that husk around the grain versus a processed white grain. We'll have a little bit more fiber in the whole grain, which in turn has more of the fiber that benefits our microbiome and imparts those benefits to us further down the line. And this is where I'll step in a little bit to some of the Usana products. So when we are looking and doing our research, often what we are looking for is we find that this microbiome is helpful for humans. We find that fiber is one of those key essential things to supporting our microbiome. And then we're looking at, when we look at these details, are people receiving enough fiber from their diet? And the answer pretty clearly is no. What we find is only about 1 out of 10 people eat enough fiber on a regular daily basis. So the average adult is only eating about 16 grams of fiber per day. In comparison, recommended ranges for adults are anywhere from about 21 to 38 grams a day. So for most adults, just kind of aim for the middle of that range. You should be doing about 30 grams of fiber per day. That's what you should be eating. And most of us, as a reminder, are only eating about half of that, 16 grams per day. So we're really not doing a very good job at eating enough fiber. So that would be your first step, is really trying to increase your fruits, vegetables, legumes, and whole grains to improve your overall daily fiber consumption. But then the next step that you can do would be taking a fiber supplement. And that's why we've designed Fiber G Plus product. Is this in a daily serving has 12 grams of fiber. So this takes you from 16 grams of fiber per day, if you're doing your normal average diet, to 28 grams a day. So that already puts you within that recommended range. And if you increase a few of those fruits and vegetables and whole grains, you can bump it up into the mid 30 grams per day. So it's really a great way to help increase your overall fiber intake. Some of the benefits of this product, as far as just ease to take, it's gluten-free, dairy-free, soy-free. So it's really readily available for most people to consume without any dietary problems. So if you need more fiber in your diet, increase your fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and then also try Usana Fiber G Plus. It's a great way to increase your fiber intake. The specific fibers we're looking at in this, so we've included Psyllium Husks. Psyllium Husk is a great bulking agent that helps you digest food a little more slowly. So in addition to some of the microbiome benefits of Fiber G Plus, the psyllium as a slow digestible fiber will help you stay full longer after eating a meal. So it can help support basically a little bit of fullness, helping you maintain a healthy weight over time. Fiber's also been associated with a lot of other different benefits like cardiovascular health function. Research has also shown that fiber can inhibit the absorption of cholesterol in the intestines and trap excess bile and eliminate the excess bile. So overall, this process helps keep you at healthy levels of LDL cholesterol and triglycerides, as well as healthy blood pressure, if that blood pressure is already in the normal range. So there's a lot of things that can help do that will support your overall cardiovascular health. In addition to psyllium, we include chicory root, which is high in soluble fiber, specifically inulin, which is the next one on the list. So inulin is one that helps promote healthy digestive function by supporting these beneficial intestinal bacteria. And then also these soluble fibers are the ones that your body can absorb some of those, which those are the ones that flow through your veins and arteries and support cardiovascular health. And then finally, it contains the golden flaxseed. Golden flaxseed is a great source of prebiotic fiber, and it also contains omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acids. Kind of in conclusion, that Fiber G Plus really offers a lot of health benefits, both to your microbiome, your gut health, cardiovascular health, digestive health, supporting healthy weight. There's several different areas that it really helps promote the overall health of your body. So that was an example of a prebiotic. which help support the growth of bacteria. Well, probiotics are actual live microorganisms. They're actual live bacteria that provide these health benefits when consumed. They're not necessarily the exact same bacteria that are already growing within your body. Oftentimes, they're similar or related bacteria that have a lot of research on them that have been shown to support beneficial gut health and gut flora. This particular slide shows a few examples of the different names of these types of probiotics. You'll find Lactobacillus, Bifidobacterium, Enterococcus, Pediococcus, and Bacillus. And what these are is just simply the names of the different species of bacteria that you would find commonly in a probiotic. There's lots of different variations of these individual strains that you can find out there. We've included 2 of them in the Usana probiotic. So the particular strains within the Usana probiotic, the research on them have been shown that they help promote good digestion and nutrient absorption. They help maintain digestive comfort and regularity. And they also support a healthy immune system within your body. One of the other great things about these strains, which is why we picked them, is that they don't need any dairy or sugar within them. So typically within the little packets or however you're consuming a probiotic, they need some sort of carbohydrate source, some sort of sugar source to keep the bacteria alive. Remember the prebiotic talk we were discussing just a minute ago, where there's the different sugars that feed the bacteria? Well, you have to actually put that in the packet. The the starch we have in here is dairy-free and sugar-free. It's using a sugar alcohol to keep these bacteria alive. And they maintain stable in these packets at room temperature for 18 months. So you don't have to refrigerate it. They can be shipped or given to family members really easy. So they're very convenient to store and keep around and take at any time. The 2 particular strains that we have in here that were researched for those benefits I was talking about are called Lactobacillus rhamnosus, LGG, and Bifidobacterium, BB12. And if you're interested in any more information about these, you can always go to the website that my group runs. So my product education group within Usana's R&D department runs a website called Ask the Scientists. And we have more information about these particular strains on that website that you can read about, some of their individual benefits and what they do for your overall health. The last of these definitions is postbiotics. So postbiotics are a little bit more complicated than the prebiotic or probiotic. So research has revealed that in some cases, probiotic bacteria do not need to be alive to provide their particular benefit. So we were just talking about the Bifidobacterium and the Lactobacillus within Usana probiotic. Those ones do need to be alive and actually consumed to receive their benefit. But there's some of these bacteria that you don't actually need the bacteria to receive the benefit from them. The compounds that bacteria produce or release outside of the cells are able to disintegrate, and just those simple compounds, when they're released from the bacteria, can enter our bodies, and then those individual compounds can trigger a beneficial response within our bodies. So these can be proteins or enzymes or other different types of acids. So these isolated individual compounds, those are what we call postbiotics. So it's basically, when you think of post, the Latin term post, it means after biotics, so after the life. Really, it's basically an after product of the probiotics. So it's something that comes after them. They can also impart benefit to us. So a postbiotic delivers the functional components from the probiotic bacteria cells that don't necessarily have to be alive anymore. This allows you to get many of the same benefits from a live probiotic strain, but it's particularly relevant for probiotic strains that are difficult to keep alive. There's some of these strains that are very sensitive to heat or cold or oxygen in the air. And so it's not very easy to offer them in a packet like we do the Usana probiotics. Some of these strains aren't well suited for that. And that's where postbiotics can become beneficial, is you can actually take the beneficial compounds from those probiotics without the difficulty of shelf stability or other things that would kill the bacteria. Some of the examples of postbiotics, you have heat innovated bacteria, you have different extracts from just simply coming from within the cells of the bacteria themselves, cell wall extracts, and then some of the metabolite extracts that I was talking about before that are the amino acids they excrete or other acids. And this moves us a little bit beyond the gut, but I thought it was a great example of another kind of probiotic, prebiotic, postbiotic thing to talk about, is Usana's whitening toothpaste, which actually contains a postbiotic within the toothpaste. The compound that we include in here is called ADP1. So in addition to simply brushing your teeth on a regular basis, like we're all familiar with, and flossing your teeth, which we know is important for dental health, this postbiotic, ADP1, can go a long way in also helping preserve your oral toothpaste, your oral health. So unlike most toothpaste on the market, the Usana whitening toothpaste supplies ADP1. This ADP1 postbiotic helps support the cleansing process by targeting and clearing away unwanted compounds that can both dull your teeth and cause bad breath. So we're all familiar with the minty flavor or other different flavors of toothpaste. Well, this has a postbiotic that can, on its own, in addition to whatever flavoring you might include in a toothpaste, also help fight bad breath and keep your overall dental health in good shape. So it's an inactivated form of the probiotic bacteria Lactobacillus paracasei is the bacteria. And this particular postbiotic comes from that lactobacillus. So the research on it shows that the postbiotic is stable and is able to deliver the benefits of the probiotic in a longer lasting shelf stable form within a toothpaste. So it's much easier to deliver this particular format and offer these oral health benefits to you within a toothpaste product. So what are some of the things in addition to a prebiotic like Usana Fiber G, a probiotic like Usana Probiotic, and a postbiotic like the toothpaste? What are some of the other things we can do? I've spoken a little bit about them. So there's a lot of research showing that the biggest things that impact our microbiome are really the foods that we're eating on a daily basis. Everything that we eat and drink plays a little bit of a role on the bacteria or the microbiome living within us. And some of these foods have a bigger impact than others. This is an interesting research study, basically looking at the role of fat on our microbiome and the eventual health benefit as a result of that. And so what we find is that this was an animal study. It was done by another research group. I'm just pulling the data from it. It was done in 2015, published in the journal Cell Metabolism. And they found that fish oil versus lard resulted in two different types of bacteria growing within the microbiome. So you find on the left picture there, the left little chart, that fish oil has these blue dots versus the red dots for the lard. That's not showing any health benefit or anything. It just simply shows that different diets result in different microbiomes. What was more interesting is they found in particular that the lard resulted in a significant amount of weight gain compared to the fish oil. So this particular diet they were giving, I believe this was a mouse study, if I remember correctly, but the lard resulted in a significant amount of weight gain compared to the fish oil at a similar amount of calories. And so clearly the microbiome is playing an important role in the weight of these mice. We have another study here. This is looking at fibers, basically different types of fiber or no fiber at all. So this is these different colors are a measurement of the diversity or the different types of bacteria within the gut. And generally, most of our research, there are certain bacteria or certain strains that are more beneficial than others, but most of the research simply shows that one of the most important things you can do is have a large diversity of bacteria. You want more types, the better, because when you have a potential harmful pathogen that's introduced to your microbiome, if there's only one type of strain that it has to fight against, or one type of bacteria it has to fight against, it's a little bit it's easier for these harmful bacteria or harmful pathogens to take hold within your microbiome if you don't have a good diversity. And that's exactly what you're seeing here. With the low fiber in the red, you find that you typically have really low diversity of different bacteria within the gut. When you compare that to an overall high fiber diet, or specifically a plant fiber diet or a fruit fiber diet, that have much more diversity within the microbiome. So the lesson there isn't that you necessarily have to do certain types of plants or fruits, but really just an overall high fiber diet of any type will introduce more diversity to your microbiome. So to answer what can you do to support a healthy microbiome, a healthy gut, basically eat a diet that's rich in prebiotics, whether that's supplemented prebiotics and fibers or overall dietary increases. They both are impactful. And then you can also take probiotics, postbiotics, and some of the lifestyle things that we go through as well, like exercise, sleeping healthy, staying hydrated, also support a healthy gut. I want to conclude with a couple more things that go a little bit outside of the gut or outside of the microbiome, but still focus on your gut health. I want to touch on the Usana digestive enzyme. So the digestive enzyme will help you receive some of these extra benefits and extra nutrients from these plant-rich diets and diets full of healthy fats that you now should be eating on a regular basis. So it contains a number of different enzymes that are known to break down these individual carbohydrates, fats, proteins, lactose, and cellulose that are within your diet. On this, what you find is we have alpha amylase, lactase, cellulase that we include in this product to break down carbohydrates and fiber. We include bromylase, protease, and papain to break down proteins, lipase to break down fats, plus artichoke extract that will help overall just kind of interacts with fats to help avoid an upset stomach, especially after a large meal. So this is another way that you can support your overall gut health. It will also play a role in helping support your microbiome health, and then in turn, your overall healthy body. Once again, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to my group through Ask the Scientist. There's an actual function on there where you can email my team, and we can give you a little bit more information about this. We have lots and lots of information about your microbiome and your overall gut health. With that, I've got a few minutes for questions if anybody has any questions or confusion about anything I stated, and we can go from there. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Austin. So, do you have any question regarding our topic of today? No, is it? I read an article regarding the linkage in between our lung and gut. So, do you agree with this concept, Austin?
So I'm not aware of that particular research, but as I said, it's been a really hot topic in research over the last decade, the microbiome, and particularly the microbiome of the gut. And it seems to be involved in almost every process in our body. It's involved in mental health, our skin health, our cardiovascular health. And so it wouldn't surprise me. In fact, I'd be more surprised if it didn't impact our lungs or almost any system in our body. We're finding more and more that it really has a large role in every aspect of our health.
All right. There is a question regarding what is the big difference in between Fiber G Plus versus Fiber G Active.
So they're both great sources of fiber. The Fiber G Plus was originally designed about 10 years ago, and it was designed primarily it was before we had a lot of this information and research about microbiome that's happened so much in the last few years. And it was primarily targeted at some of the cardiovascular health benefits of fibers, some of the overall regularity and digestive benefits of fibers, versus the new Fiber G Active contains fibers that are coming from a few specific plant compounds. We have some fibers coming specifically from apples and a few other phytonutrients that are more targeted in addition to those regularity benefits, cardiovascular benefits. It's more targeted at a few specific strains of bacteria. So it's more tightly linked to the microbiome that I spoke so much about today, versus the older Fiber G Plus is kind of a more general fiber product. They both have a lot of great health benefits. But like I said, the active is just more targeted at the microbiome would be the big difference, if I could describe the benefits. So we've got the next question. I said it's preferable that we have a wide variety of probiotics. I don't know if I said it's preferable. I said there is a large variety of probiotics. The actual research shows if you're going to supplement with probiotics, that there's kind of a few key benefits you can receive from those. One of those is regularity. So, for example, occasionally you might have diarrhea if you're taking an antibiotic. And so that's one of the big things you can benefit from a probiotic. And you really don't need a lot of different strains on that. And the two particular strains we've included have a pretty good wide range of benefits from those. There are other individual probiotics out there that target different aspects of the body, but the two that we have really do a good job at targeting overall gut health and regularity and supporting a diverse microbiome within the body. You don't necessarily need one that has a dozen different probiotics, and total overall probiotic count often doesn't matter as much as overall research on the strains that you have is probably the biggest and most important thing. We have any other questions? Usana probiotics in regards to leaky gut. So for those who didn't see the chat, somebody's wondering how Usana probiotic might impact leaky gut. There's not a lot of individual research on our probiotics with leaky gut, and I'm not aware of any probiotics directly impacting leaky gut. It's something that's more involved with kind of overall health, some of your dietary choices, and even some physiological aspects of our individual body are tied to leaky gut. And if it's something you're really concerned about, that's really more of a medical issue that you probably have to work with your doctor. It's not something that a dietary or supplement choice can necessarily impact very effectively. Leaky gut's not as common, I don't think, as a lot of people might believe. And so on the rare occasion it does happen, you'd probably need to work with your doctor for those particular cases. And they might have or suggest some overall dietary changes, like some really large dietary changes, as well as a few specific medical treatments.
Okay, one more question. You have one more question? If you have no question, then we would like to thank you, Austin, to give us an informative presentation. So thank you, Austin, and thank you, everyone. for attending our topic of today. And see you again. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.